Just when you thought it couldn't get creepier, Satou's aunt returns yet again, and it looks like this time she's going to be an accomplice in Satou's crimes. The epic fiery finale of Happy Sugar Life is upon us, and it's truly building up in this episode right here, which features the return of Satou's super crazy masochistic aunt, and she continues to be one of the best elements of the entire series, and easily one of the most interesting characters. She is a scene stealer. Every single time that she is in a scene with another character, your attention is completely drawn to her. Everything about her character is fascinating, but she's just one of the many great things about this episode of Happy Sugar Life. So let's just go ahead and jump into this episode right here. It opens up with Asahi, who's deciding to bring some bat justice to frickin' Mitsuboshi. He calls him out into the park to let him know that Shio is there, and it's all there just to draw him out into the open and to beat the crap out of him and tie him up. He wants to know where Satou is, and Mitsuboshi can find out. If he can't find it out, well, he's gonna bludgeon him to death and rip off his freaking fingernails. This is a dark moment for Asahi, as it shows that despite the fact that he has good intentions to find his sister, he is in many ways just as twisted as his father is, even employing some of the torturous things that he's actually done, showing that, really, there are no normal characters in Happy Sugar Life. Well, there was one, but she's dead as shit. Meanwhile, Satou realizes that she and Shio are going to have to get out of town pretty quick, and she's really young, and she doesn't have a lot of money, so she's going to need some help. Not just in getting out of town, but also sort of covering up all of the evidence of the things that she's done. And the only person that she can turn to is her sick and twisted aunt. And this might be my favorite scene of the entire series, which is simply just Satou confronting her aunt, and they have this little battle of ideological love. Whose love is right? Whose love is wrong? Which love is actually stronger? And what's really twisted about the whole scene is that both characters are completely wrong on both of these fronts. And what's even creepier is the fact that Satou's aunt is sort of okay with everything that's happening. She's actually happy that Satou has found love, despite the fact that it's with a young prepubescent girl, and she's even willing to help her get out of the country if necessary, and even cover up the evidence. She's even okay with the fact that Satou actually killed someone, but because she did it out of love, it's completely okay with her aunt. Her aunt is just a very disturbing character. Maybe the most disturbing of the entire show, and for completely different reasons than Satou actually is. But this entire scene is great because Satou basically isn't taking shit from anyone anymore. She pretty much makes it clear that she's only using her aunt simply because of her parental and even adult status, but even that doesn't seem to break her character. It almost seems like it's going to happen, but there's a little bit of ominous in the air with the fact that Satou's aunt realizes that it's only a matter of time before Satou gets caught. If anything, she's just along for the ride and simply just wants to watch the world burn a little. This is also intercepted with all sorts of really great flashback sequence of Satou as a child, living with her aunt for the very first time and seeing the things that she does. There's a very creepy scene where she realizes that her aunt loves to be beaten by her lovers. It's something that she gets off on. It's the only thing that sort of fuels her. She takes on anyone's love, whether it be something that's happy or violent. And seeing a scene of a small child actually witness this is just one of the many things that makes this episode absolutely terrifying and will just make your skin crawl. But the rest of the episode follows Satou's aunt, Satou, and Shio as they go around picking up supplies in order to cover up the evidence and get them out of town. We even get to see the return of that one girl who's completely obsessed with Satou, who actually ends up getting both her and Shio some updated passports. Apparently they're planning on leaving the country. They're that freaking serious about this stuff. And it also looks like they've been buying some stuff like some gasoline and stuff, so I'm assuming they're actually going to try and burn down that top part of the apartment, which leads me to believe that that's probably the fire that was shown in the very first episode, so things are not looking too good here. But the episode ends with two incredibly disturbing scenes. One of those being Mitsuboshi, who ends up going to the apartment that he believes Satou lives in. He walks inside, discovering the door is open, finds a room covered in blood, and then suddenly is attacked by Satou's aunt. And the reason that this scene is so disturbing, of course, is because Mitsuboshi himself has been completely disturbed by older women, by already being assaulted and basically raped and captured by one earlier in the series, and now the same thing is happening again, and it's going to be coming from Satou's aunt. This is either going to make him either worse, or it might actually cure him, it's hard to say, despite the fact the scene itself is heavily disturbing. But the final scene is what really takes the cake for me, as Satou and Shio finally decide to do their vows, declaring their love for one another, and yes, it finally happens. They kiss each other. I've talked to a lot of people online about this episode, and a lot of people that I've seen have actually said that the final scene is sweet and loving and romantic. Guys, she's a young girl. It's fucked up. I don't mean to be so black and white about these things, but that final scene, despite the fact that it was all cheery and happy and sparkly, was really freaking creepy. So what's the rundown on this episode of Happy Sugar Life? This is an episode that goes balls to the walls with what the entire series is all about, and it's building up to a very exciting finale for the show. There were so many things about this episode that I really enjoyed, but I especially loved the opening sequence with Asahi, just showing that he's basically at the end of his rope here. He's completely desperate to find Shio, and he's willing to do violent things in order to make that happen. He's becoming everything that he hates, and watching that actually unfold on screen is quite disturbing, especially with the imagery that they use to display how he's slowly but surely going mad. But I think most people are going to enjoy the interactions between Satou and her aunt in this episode, which were certainly a tour de force for the series. Just watching these characters talk to each other and interact is honestly just great. It's as good as any fight scene that you'll ever see. It's actually that tense, and it seems like it's all been sort of building up to that moment. But Satou's aunt, again, just steals every scene that she's in. Even her first meeting with Shio is hilarious and creepy at the same time. She's totally okay with the fact that Satou is basically harboring a minor here, and she's so complicit with everything that's actually going on, and she's so willing to help, too. She's also a crazy bitch of a driver. Never ride with this woman. I don't know how I feel about the Mitsuboshi scene. I don't know if I should feel bad for him. Like, is this something that he had coming? Is it karmic that he's about to be assaulted by this older woman? I really don't know how I feel about that scene right there. But again, it was really nice how they paired that with the other ending scene, just showing the opposite ends of the spectrum of fuck-uppery. Both disturbing in very different ways, and it completely sold me on this episode right here. I can't wait to see how it's all going to end. I hope there is something of a happy ending for some of these characters, at least for Shio, who unfortunately seems to be caught up in a whirlwind of absolute madness. She's the real victim in all of this, and it's so sad that she really has no comprehension of everything that's truly going on here. She's too young to simply understand it, and ultimately that's another one of the elements that makes this show just so damn disturbing. That and the fact that the characters themselves are over the top and super fun. This was a great episode of Happy Sugar Life, which is why I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Check it out, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode in the comment section below, and of course what you guys hope to see from the rest of Happy Sugar Life in the final episode of the series. Let's get a discussion going in the comments section. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.